Hi everyone, I'm Colin from Mosaic Innovation. Today we're going to talk about lean startup innovation in legacy enterprise. Now that's a real mouthful, so what do I mean by that? Well, I'm simply talking about using the lean startup methodology, which is rapid, low-cost, iterative experimentation in traditional big business. So the kind of businesses that weren't born digitally. And I'm going to do that through an extended case study today and show you how we've done it with one of our clients. So in the age of disruption, innovation is harder than ever. Typically finding that 80% plus of innovations fail, figures even higher in startups. And really interestingly, most big businesses are still trying to innovate the same way they do regular operations, which all of our literature and empirical evidence shows is really not a good idea. And there's still this perpetual myth that if only we get the right idea, everything else is going to follow easy. Whereas actually it always reminds me of that Edison quote that innovation is 10% inspiration and 90% perspiration. And we're definitely on the talking about the latter today. So given the innovation has such a high failure rate, the innovator's number one task is to reduce risk and uncertainty. And the biggest risk, frankly, is no one's going to buy the thing you build. I remember years ago working with British Gas. At the time it was doing Internet of Things connected alarms when they were still new, security alarms. We'd done tons of market research on this brilliant blockbuster product, thought we were going to sell hundreds of thousands of them. Guess what? We sold literally a few dozen, complete fail. So how do you actually reduce the risk, particularly if you're not going to buy it? And that's where lean startup really excels. For anyone who's not familiar with the methodology, I'll just give you a quick overview. So what we do is whenever you have an idea that has lots of uncertainty, particularly in innovation, you break it down into a series of critical assumptions. They're called leap of faith assumptions across the customer side, so the proposition, the financial side, the business model, and the viability side, or feasibility, sorry, the operational and technical side. And then what we do is we build a series of minimum viable products. So that is the simplest, crudest, quickest, cheapest way we can create this and test those assumptions. We then run a series of quick real-world experiments, crucially, not market research, get those results, and then determine, do we continue down our path or do we need to actually change path, do what's called a pivot and go in a new direction. And you'll typically repeat that process several times in this build, measure, learn loop to figure out if your innovation is successful. It's fundamentally different than the traditional linear approach, or waterfall as it's sometimes called, to innovation still used by most big business. So it's really interesting, and I've been doing this for quite a while. The lean startup came around in 2011, and all of the kind of leading tech companies, the FANGs, your Facebooks, etc., your little digital companies, they get it, they can do it, no problem. But big legacy enterprises really struggle. And in fairness, it's a really tough thing to do when you get governance, you get processes, cultural, all kinds of blockers. And the lean startup brilliant, but didn't, in the first book at least, give that much guidance on how big businesses can apply it. So I'm going to talk about our experience, as I say, in one client we worked with. So I mentioned these big challenges they are. So the biggest challenge is reputation, actually. A lot of companies are still really worried that if your colleagues run off and do some experiments, you're going to end up with egg all over your face, customer complaints, maybe negative media portrayals, or even, God forbid, some health and safety accidents, someone's actually going to get hurt. And there's also, number two, interestingly, big businesses just really aren't set up to run these experiments. They're all about efficiency, standardization, scale, whereas what we need here is idiosyncrasy, entrepreneurship, ad hoc measures. So it's a real mindset model for all of these companies as well. So what happens is when you don't have lean startup in place, usually you default to what's called hypo, the highest paid person's opinion, and you kind of get this Julius Caesar effect of the thumbs up, thumbs down from them. Now that's a really hideous way to make innovation decisions. Unless your executives are like Steve Jobs, they will get it wrong more often than they will get it right. So far better to validate thinking through experiments. So for an innovation to be successful, there's three key criteria. The first one is desirability. So do people actually want to buy it? And that all relates to the value proposition. The second area is viability. So the business model, can you actually make money and a good return out of this? And the third one is feasibility, the technical and operational constraints. So can it be delivered in a way that's workable? And crucially, you need all three to be successful in order for the innovation to deliver. So often we see people creating something customers love that never makes any money, or something that is just, dream that's never really going to make it in the real world for regulatory or technical reasons. So all three need to be in alignment. Now, to do that, crucially with the lean startup, what you want to do is do them all in parallel. So don't focus on one and get too far ahead. And what you're trying to do is generate different levels of evidence as your venture project progresses. So just to give you an example on the top swim lane, which is desirability or value proposition, in the first instance, as I mentioned, we would go out with something like a paper prototype, get verbal feedback that customers are interested, but very quickly we'd actually want to move beyond just the verbal traditional market research and actually get them to demonstrate it. So we use what's called a minimum viable product. So this is a version of the product that allows you to maximize learning with minimal effort. So if we use a kind of fun, frivolous example, donut, we're making something really quite crude and simple just to test if people actually want this, and then we'll add the ice and all of the toppings. So just to close off, unfortunately I don't have long today, just maybe the finance, please don't switch off here, to bring that hit to life for those of you, it's really a critical area of lean startup. The traditional metrics of finance don't really work in innovation. So if you were asked, for example, well, how much revenue do you have 4 weeks, 12 weeks, even sometimes 20 weeks into venture, the answer is going to be not a lot. So it's really not a useful metric to measure on. So there's a whole new way of looking at innovation finance called innovation accounting. Now, one of those critical techniques in innovation accounting I mentioned is to look at the unit economics. They're far better than the whole economics, which are often skewed due to scaling. So just to round off today, unfortunately I don't have long. As I mentioned, I'm from Mosaic Innovation. We cover the whole innovation spectrum, so everything from capabilities, if you're looking to be trained in lean startup or indeed any other innovation methodology, strategy, innovation insight to help you get those breakthrough insights that will fuel innovation, invention, so coming up with ideas themselves, or what I've spoke about today, when you actually have your ideas and you want to experiment in the real world. And we've done this in Argos, you can see a retail example. That's myself over in New York with Absolute Vodka, doing a super fun project where we actually took prototypes of vaporized vodka, edible, frozen, and all sorts of things to bars and clubs, and got real world feedback on those as well. So lean can be applied in just about any context, and love to talk to you more. If you want to get in touch, my name's Colin, and it's colin@mosaic-innovation.com. Hope you enjoyed your conference, and I'd now like to invite any questions from the audience.